Welcome to KiwaniTalk. My name is Gary Gardner. I'm your host for this episode, brought to you by people from the Dearborn Kiwanis Club with help from students from Dearborn High School, my alma mater. Welcome to the program, the longest running cable access television show in the entire world. And today we're talking about local organizations and an organization that is very important to many, many people, many more than I could have imagined after talking to the executive director, the senior executive director of the Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities. Today we have Wassim Mahfouz. Welcome to the show, Wassim.
Thank you so much for having me, Gary.
It's great to have you here. And organizations like the Kiwanis, we like to help people. Your organization helps a lot of people, but you weren't always part of that organization. How did you wind up in this area, and where did you come from? How did you get here?
Yeah, born and raised in Lebanon. I moved to the United States in 2002. And I joined the LAHC, which back then stood for Lebanese American Heritage Club, as a volunteer member. And then a few months later, I was offered a part-time position. And I figured it would be a great way to give back to the community, to get involved more with the American lifestyle here. And from there, it became history, and I worked closely with the board of directors of the organization. We grew our operation, and today we proudly serve over 60,000 individuals annually.
So it was the Lebanese American
Heritage
Club, but it's changed. And funny how the initials are still the same, the Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities. Along the way you went to the school in Ann Arbor. What degree did you get from U of M?
A master's in public administration.
Okay, and you worked your way up through the organization to be where it is. So what was the goal, the function of the Lebanese American Heritage Club way back when, and when did you switch over to the Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities?
Yeah, so when the organization was founded back in 1982, it was a group of Lebanese immigrants who wanted to start an organization to celebrate the Lebanese heritage and the American way of life here, and to attract youth through soccer. Later on, the organization grew and expanded its programs and services with the growth of the community. And the programs became available to everybody, regardless of race, religion, ethnic background, country of origin, sexual orientation. So that's why it was important to rebrand the whole organization and choose a name that is more inclusive to reflect the wide array of programs that the organization provides, as well as the diverse demographic that we serve. And the name changed legally from Lebanese American Heritage Club to LAHC, Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities. The acronym is in the official name 7 years ago. And as I mentioned, we wanted to choose a name that is inclusive, a name that is inviting, that everybody feels welcomed and reflects who we are as an organization.
So the name belies sort of a thing of leaders, and you have a lot of leaders in the community who are part of the organization. Talk about some of the people, the notables of your organization.
Absolutely. Every person is a leader, and this is the center of everything we do at the organization. We look at our youth as leaders. We look at the people and the clients that we serve as leaders. And we are all a piece of this pie, and we kind of complement and come together to do, for the greater good. Our board of directors is comprised of 13 board members from different walks of life. We have elected officials, we have judges, we have people from the business community, we have youth and people who serves in the government. As I mentioned, it's very diverse. We also have our staff members. The organization is comprised of 30 full-time staff members and contractors.
Hang on a second. You started out, you were there, and you were the one volunteer for
Correct.
The organization. And it seems that Wassim Mahfouz may have had a lot to do with making that organization into what it is today.
It's a teamwork. I
See, there's a real leader for you. He's a leader, and he points out everybody else is a leader, but he's led this organization. Don't let him fool you.
I appreciate the kind compliment, but I'm only one person, and it takes a whole village. There is a saying that says a leader doesn't create followers, create other leaders. And, I'm blessed to be a part of a great team at LAHC that is truly dedicated to the service of the community. They stepped up to the plate during the time of need, especially during COVID. And these people had the opportunity probably to sit home and maybe collect unemployment. And they were at work every day. Because we are an organization with a divine mission, an organization that is deeply rooted in the community. And every single person who serves on the as a part of the LAHC family, be it a board member, a volunteer, or a paid employee, they believe in the mission of the organization.
And you said it in passing, but I think it's important to focus on. You're not just leaders, but you create, everybody becomes a leader in some way. How do you identify the leadership traits of an individual who may not think he or she is a leader, and how do you build them up into that leadership role?
I appreciate this question. You don't serve in the nonprofit sector for the sake of profit. The word says it all, nonprofit, right? You do it because you believe in a mission, and you've probably overcome or experienced some rough times or a certain experience in your previous life or current life, and you want to make a difference and you want to help other people. So we look at these traits. Number one, personality. Why you are applying for this job? Why do you want to be involved with a human services agency? What is your motive? We look definitely at experience. We look at passion. We look at education. I would say probably 90% of our team has a master's degree or higher. We look at all these traits in an individual when we make an offer, and definitely, the big thing is your commitment to service. And we empower our team. We all make a decision together as a family. We have an open door policy. We do have, managers and leaders in the hierarchy, but when we all come together as a team and treat people as individuals, as humans, not numbers, you feel that you belong to an entity. You're not just another employee, that you're identified by an employee ID. No, you are more than that and bigger than that. You are a part of a team that is making a difference, and you have a family behind you that supports you and want to empower you and see you grow. So we provide training, professional development training. Currently, I even asked my college professor at U of M to come and offer a professional development training for our leadership team. We do this on a monthly basis. And, for the rest of our team members as well, whatever training they need on a daily basis to be able to learn and acquire skills and leadership traits that they need to fulfill the requirements of the position, we provide trainings constantly.
You mentioned previously that you've serviced 60,000 people. That's a lot of people. And you can't do that all with your staff. I imagine there's an enormous volunteer component. Talk about the volunteer, what they do and the opportunities that are there for volunteers.
Absolutely. We rely heavily on volunteers in everything we do. We're always short on manpower because we go out in the community and we offer our programs, whether it's a Christmas event or a Thanksgiving turkey drive or cleaning a park. So we're always looking for youth volunteers or people from the community who want to do good, and they reach out to us, and we appreciate every help that we can get.
As volunteers come in, do you also apply that leadership sort of attitude towards the volunteers and make them into leaders of volunteers and leaders in their community.
Absolutely. When people reach out to you and they want to volunteer, it's probably because they believe in your mission and they want to serve the community, and you are their organization of choice. There are hundreds of organizations out there. So you definitely pick on that and encourage them to volunteer, and they go and recruit more people to come and volunteer with them at the next event. So it's like a snowball that grows just to do good.
Where's your headquarters for the LAHC?
In Dearborn.
And Dearborn's a big town. What part of town?
It's the east side of Dearborn. So 4 years ago, we purchased a church building, St. Clement's Church, and we rebuilt the whole building on the inside. We turned it into a beautiful headquarters, a community center. We have classrooms, training rooms, community conference room that accommodates over 150 people. Various people from different groups in the community, our stakeholders, coalitions that we are involved with. They come and they host their meetings sometimes at LAHC, and our offices are there.
One of the things we're going to come back to in a little bit is how to get a hold of you. But for right now, what's the website for LAHC? It's
www.lahc.org.
And by the miracle of technology, you can't see it, but it's right here. You have a large volunteer base. You have a large staff. What kind of funding sources do you have? I imagine you get a lot of grants. Talk about that part of it.
Yes. So we do not charge fee for service for any of our services. So when I say we serve 60,000 individuals annually, these are individuals who are receiving 100% free services. Our operation and our funding consists of grants from foundations, government funding, federal funding, local funding through local cities and municipalities, corporate donations, and individual donations.
Okay. We're going to continue this discussion about the LAHC, the leaders advancing and helping communities, with the senior executive director. I got to get that right. I'll get it before we're done with Wassim. Wassim Mahfouz. So, now, don't go away. We'll be right back after some words from Kiwanis.
"30 years of youth empowerment. Empowering the youth is a key focus for LAHC and a subject that is near and dear to their heart. For decades, it's been the jewel in their crown. To date, LAHC has invested nearly $1.5 million in educational scholarships and programming based on youth development and diversity education.
30 years of community engagement and support services. Services range from hosting monthly feedings for the homeless and providing basic necessities such as coats and warm clothing to families in need. Annually, LAHC provides 1,000 turkeys and baskets filled with canned goods and nutritional supplies to income-eligible families throughout Wayne County.
30 years of building healthier communities. LAHC established 2 quality programs that focus on health and wellness. LAHC's obesity and substance abuse prevention programs are a phenomenal way to address a rising epidemic among youth in America and ensure families and children enjoy a healthy lifestyle. It's important to LAHC that youth are equipped with the right resources and education to defend against the dangers of violence, substance abuse, and illegal drugs like opioids.
30 years of making an impact. Every year, the LAHC team distributes 1,000 backpacks filled with school supplies and books to area students, ensuring that they have the right resources to move forward with a passion to achieve their academic success.
30 years of touching lives. Bringing cheer to families has become a tradition for LAHC. It is the kind and the heartwarming gestures during times that you feel alone that can make the greatest impact. It's always a blessing to know you've got a shoulder to lean on during life's difficult moments.
30 years of celebrating diversity, enriching lives. Embracing diversity is not only the LAHC slogan and part of its logo. This is the root of the organization, a commitment to go into the world with the resources available, embrace humanity, address societal needs, and work towards making a difference in the world without placing conditions or boundaries.
30 years.
30 years.
30
Years.
30 years.
30 years of giving, community service, enriching lives, and making an impact. The best is yet to come. We are LAHC, leaders advancing and helping communities.
Welcome back to KiwaniTalk. I'm your host, Gary Gardner, with this episode brought to you through the facilities of the Salvation Army Citadel in Dearborn Heights. Thank you for hosting us today. We are using our remote equipment that we got through the Dearborn Cable Commission Foundation, and we're happy to be here and happy to be talking with the Senior Executive Director of the Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities, Wassim Mahfouz. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So, funding is a big part of what you do. You talked about grants, and I learned something that I should have known, but you talk about restrictive grants. What's a restrictive grant, a restricted grant?
Restricted grant, this is a grant that you apply for a particular program. Normally these programs, they're restricted by the funding agency, the funding source. So let's say you have a foundation that their focus area is public health, and you submit a grant proposal that is focused on public health with clear objectives and outcomes, and you are awarded this grant. So basically you cannot take this money and purchase a building with it. So this makes the funding restricted by the funding source, and there is a funding agreement in place. The unrestricted funding, this is funding that has no restrictions. Normally when you go and you fundraise, for example, you can apply this money across all programs. It doesn't have to go towards one particular program because the money is unrestricted.
And you have other ways of getting funding besides the grants, and what's the big one that you have coming up?
It's our annual fundraiser. It's coming up on December 9th. This event normally used to take place in April, but for the past couple of years, because of COVID, we had to shift the event from in-person to an e-gala. And
we talked about it during the break. It just wasn't an in-person event. It was an in-person event.
Yeah. 1,200 people in attendance.
1,200 people.
Yes.
That's a big. Where did you have it?
We used to host it at the Hyatt Regency in the past when it was Hyatt, and then through all the name changes, the Henry Hotel.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. But now it's an e-gala, and when is the e-gala for LAHC?
The e-gala is scheduled to take place on December 9th. And we are currently accepting donations, so we have a sponsorship packet in place, and it's available on our website, lahc.org/egala.
And what do you get as how does it work? What do people expect at the e-gala?
So, we do have different sponsorship levels, and I'm not going to go over it today, but everything is on our website. It's a great way for corporations to show their support to the community. During this event, we also award scholarships to students who are seeking higher education. To date, LAHC has proudly awarded over $2 million in educational scholarships throughout the past 30 years. And the scholarships will be awarded during the e-gala. We also have two community leaders who will be receiving the Excellence in Great Achievements Award. The first awardee is State Representative Abdullah Hamoud. He's currently also running he's the front runner for the Dearborn mayor. And we also have the President and CEO of the Children Foundation, Larry Burns.
And the funds that you raise from your e-gala are the unrestricted type. So that means you can do that for the other things that are, important. And there's been a lot of things going on in the city. There's been flooding, there's been economic distress and downturns. How has the LAHC been helping people with those issues?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of great work, and for the flooding part, which is unfortunate because it happened several times, and also some households were impacted with a flood a couple of days ago. So LAHC put a team of volunteers, and we go back to how important it is to reach out to volunteers, and we knocked on doors, and we went in and we cleaned houses. It was a lot of water, a lot of damage, and a lot of mold. And that was not an easy task. So we helped a lot of people. We teamed up with Kroger and Best Buy, and we've also distributed dehumidifiers to various households, particularly senior citizens. In terms of housing assistance, LAHC, to respond to the growing need that took place because of COVID, many household incomes have been impacted by COVID-19, and to that, LAHC has awarded to date nearly $300,000 in small $5,000 grants per household to families whose household income has been impacted by COVID-19, and this money is used basically to pay for mortgage, rent, and utility payments, and it's sent directly to the service provider. And we are still accepting applications as we speak. The requirements, basically, you will need to be a Dearborn resident, and you need to show proof that your household income has been impacted by COVID-19, and that also you meet the poverty guidelines set forth by HUD.
You mentioned the Dearborn assistance, but is there a bigger area that the LAHC services besides Dearborn?
LAHC services Wayne County through our various programs, but that housing assistance grant is only restricted to Dearborn due to the simple fact that it's a federal grant that is awarded to the city of Dearborn, and LAHC is a subrecipient of this grant. So other cities and municipalities, they offer the same grant through various organizations.
Your organization has come a long way since 1982, and then particularly since 2002 when you came on board. What would you, as the senior executive director, where do you see your organization going forward and growing forward in addition to going forward?
Yeah, the need is high out there, and there is a lot of people and a lot of families that need help. And the way we track our success as an organization, as a community service organization, is how many people are we servicing, how many people are we serving every year, and the quality of service that we provide, and are we able to respond to the growing need of the community. So we're always looking for resources, because the more resources that we can acquire, the more staff we can bring on board, the more services we can offer, and the more people we can serve in turn.
And when you have this growth going down the road, it sounds like your office over there in East Dearborn has the ability to absorb some more people and do some more things. You've been with it now for about 19 years. 19 years from now, what is your vision for the LAHC? What do you want it to be?
I would like it to be one of the largest human services agency in the area, providing quality programs and services to people in the community in and beyond the state of Michigan.
And where do you see your role? Because you're now the senior executive director.
I'll be ready to retire.
What else?
I'll be ready to hand the torch. And this is, another thing that we do. We empower people. And I truly tell this to every single staff and team member when we onboard them. And I'm like, one day you're going to be sitting in this chair, and I point at my chair, because this organization was there way before me, and it will outgrow me, and it will be there after I'm gone.
Backwards in time, when you first came to America, did you understand or appreciate the opportunities that you would have here, and then how your role as a leader in the community grew and developed?
100%. You know, the reason I moved here is to seek a better life and better opportunities, something that unfortunately was not offered in my hometown or in my home country, Lebanon. You know, I was born and raised, it's a beautiful country, but it's also a war-torn country. I grew up in the middle of the war, and you live your entire childhood hearing bombs falling and missiles over your head, and you feel this is the norm because you've been hearing these noises since day one. I've seen blood, war, and when I turned 18 years old, I joined the Lebanese Red Cross as a volunteer rescuer. I graduated from college, and I wanted better opportunities and a better life, and I moved here. And this country took me in with open arms. It allowed me great opportunities, and it helped shape the man that I've become today, and I am forever grateful for this nation and this great land. And probably that's why I do what I do every day. This is my way to pay it forward and show America how appreciative I am to be here. And I was lucky enough that when I immigrated here, I found organizations such as LAHC that stood by my side and allow me opportunities, and this is how we pay it forward.
Well, it sounds like you truly appreciate what we have here in this country. It's a great country. I'm an immigrant too, but I'm from south of the border in Canada, because it's right south of where we are anyway. But it's been a great country. I love it, and I'm glad to see that the leaders of the LAHC leadership is in good hands with Wassim, Mahfouz.
I appreciate you.
Thank you very much for coming onto the program. Thank you for tuning in. Last chance for the website is
LAHC.org.
See you next time on KiwaniTalk. I'm Gary Gardner. Bye-bye.
Thank you.